Hi guys, my name is Katya. I'm a teacher of Russian. Recently you asked me in Instagram so many questions about learning Russian language. How much time does it take? What are the most difficult topics? How to cope with difficulties? And today I'm going to give you detailed explanation of all these questions because I decided that the Instagram format of stories is not appropriate for that. Oh, by the way, follow me in Instagram. I share a lot of useful materials there as well. Let's get started. The first question: how much time is required for learning Russian language? Well, I could give you a typical answer like, oh, it depends on intensity, frequency of classes, your skills, something like that. But actually, 8-9 months would be more than enough. It is the duration of Russian language preparatory course at the university. For example, I used to work as a teacher at the preparatory course. After these 8-9 months, students can easily enter the Russian universities and live in Russia. As for the frequency of the classes, there are usually 5 classes per week, and the duration of the class is about 1.5 hours, and there are 3 classes. So in general, every week there are 15 classes of Russian language. Yes, it's pretty intensive, but still it's necessary for students who already living in Russia. And after these 9-8 months, they already have B1 level of Russian language. It is enough for entering the university and for living in Russia. Of course, they will not achieve the level of native speaker, but still this current level would be perfect for living and existing in Russia. And the most popular exercise book at such courses is Дорога в Россию. You can literally ask any teacher of Russian in Russia. They know about this book, and according to this book, they make the program on the preparatory courses. But of course, they also use some extra materials. Next, what is the most difficult topic of Russian language? Well, in my opinion, and actually my colleagues, my students absolutely agree with me, grammatical cases is the most difficult topic in Russian language. Why? Just let's count. There are 6 cases, and we changed the endings of nouns and adjectives according to these cases. Just imagine how many endings you have to remember. Yes, it's really monotonous, boring work to learn all these endings by heart, but it's necessary for start speaking Russian properly. You may think that grammar does not matter that much, but it matters, believe me. Sometimes incorrect grammar causes misunderstanding in communication. Next, what are the most difficult sounds of Russian language? Of course, the first most difficult sound for foreigners is because in many languages such sound just does not exist. I think only in Russian language, Mongolian language we have sound Where else? I don't know. Let me know in comments if there is sound in your native language. Next sound is C. Африкативный звук. It could be similar to the mixture of T, S. So C. The next difficult sound is sh, not sha. Many students confuse sha and sha, but these are 2 different sounds again. One more, zh, because many students confuse zh and z. And I think that's all. Just 4 most difficult sounds. How many tenses are there in Russian language? Officially, there are 3 tenses: present, future, and past. But somehow there are many subtopics. So in Russian language, we can express the continuation and perfect aspects like in English language. For example, maybe you know about the topic perfective and imperfective verbs. For example, the verb делать means to do, and it indicates the process of action. But for example, the verb сделать with prefix с indicates on the ending of the action. The action is already done, already completed. And of course, such aspects also reflects on these tenses. But yes, officially there are 3 tenses. And if you follow the structure of your Russian language course, you will not have any problems with that. Next question. Is it compulsory to learn Russian script, handwriting script? Well, I would say that it is not compulsory. Yes, it is time-taking process because you have to train at the very beginning. But actually, if you study at the university in Russia, this handwriting will help you a lot. You will just write letters faster than using this printed script. But if you learn Russian language just for communication with someone, for traveling, for tourism, I think it is not that much important for you. How do Russian teachers teach students at the preparatory courses? Well, actually, students who are certified, they know about this Soviet Russian approach of teaching Russian language as a foreign. And according to this approach, we should use only Russian language for explanation. If the students come for their very first class, they do not understand Russian at all, they are foreigners, we should start teaching with Russian language. Like we should say "Здравствуйте, как вас зовут?" We should not use English language at all or any other language. That's how this process happened in Soviet times. And for example, many students who studied in Russia 50-60 years back, thanks to that approach, they have brilliant level of Russian. Just I'm in touch with such professors, such teachers, and of course, they mentioned that they were shocked at their first classes, but in some time you will start to understand your teacher, you will understand these Russian words, Russian phrases, and that's how you will get used to it. But of course, nowadays a lot of teachers use English or any other language. Even I used English language sometimes when I realized that they understand English, and for me it would be easier to explain something in English than using Russian language, using some gestures. It will just make things more difficult. And it is called natural approach, when you learn language like a kid from the environment. Next question. Is there any difference if the student is studying Russian language in his or her country or in Russia? Well, if we will take into consideration that, for example, one student learns Russian in Russia, another in his or her own country, and they both complete homework, clarify all their questions, work hard, study material properly. So the student who is in Russia will see the process much faster because he or she lives in this environment. As soon as he or she leaves classroom, they have to speak Russian language in metro, in shop, just everywhere. But at the same time, I should say that many students who live in Russia for 6-7 years sometimes do not speak language at all. First, because they study at English language faculties. Sometimes there are programs where teachers teach international students only in English language. And second thing, they communicate only with people from their small community. Mostly these are people from their country. So, of course, they do not have opportunity to start speaking Russian language. Next. What should I pay attention to at the very beginning of learning Russian language? Well, actually, this is not your responsibility. This is the responsibility of your teacher. Make sure that your teacher pays attention to phonetics. Because certified teacher knows that at the very beginning it's important to make student drill the pronunciation. If student studies sounds incorrectly, it would be extremely difficult to re-teach the student to correct his or her pronunciation. So during the first months, there must always be some phonetic exercises. That's all for today. I hope this video was useful for you and I gave you answers to some of your questions. If you have more questions, please let me know in the comments or send me a message in Instagram or Telegram. I always read messages. Subscribe my channel and stay with me. Bye-bye. Пока-пока.